Starting our lineup here on the Now, more cities are getting on board with e-scooters, but today doctors are highlighting why riders should really be protecting themselves first. And politicians, let's face it, not always do they have the best reputation. Well, the lawyer for this former city council member is using this to his advantage, how he's trying to keep him out of prison by shining light on other corrupt politicians. Also, some restaurants are about to serve genetically modified fish. We're taking a look into whether you'll really see a difference when you place an order.
All right, here's a live look right now at the RTV6 Weather Now camera network, and you can see lots of clouds in place, some rain in Greencastle, and we do have some strong storms out there. The good news is the severe thunderstorm warning that has been dropped down to our south. We still maintain the severe thunderstorm watch through Terre Haute and Bloomington, and here's the line of showers and storms. To the north, it's just some plain old rain, but here's some of the stronger cells with a little bit of lightning, wind, and the potential for flooding. The main threats as these storms move through, and again, as we slide to the north, some pretty heavy rainfall in Crawfordsville and Greencastle. This will eventually make it into Indianapolis, but the good news is, Raphael, Indianapolis is not expecting any severe weather with this. It's just going to be a glancing blow with some of those heavier showers moving through.
Todd, thank you so much. This weekend, some cats and dogs are hoping to become members of your family. Working for you, our Aaron Lish finds out what you should know for this year's Indy Mega Adoption at the Indiana State Fairgrounds.
You are pretty cool.
This is one cool cat, but he's one of many at Indianapolis Animal Care Services, and staff here want to find them home.
Everybody's here because they care about the animals and because they want to see them have the best chance at a forever home.
Hundreds of cats and dogs will be up for adoption at the Indy Mega Adoption over the weekend. This is extremely helpful to make room for more animals at the shelters.
And if we can't get them adopted, then we have to look at making tough decisions, and nobody here wants to do that.
Along with IACS, there are more than 30 shelters at this two-day event. Staff say make sure you take your time and find the perfect fit.
Don't go based just on breed or what the animal looks like. A lot of people get hung up on that, but really find the pet for you.
Adoption fees start at $30. They're already fixed, microchipped, and have their vaccines, just like this big guy, Muscles, who was adopted this week.
We have like a lot of room for you. Yep.
With more than 20,000 animals housed at shelters across the state, this family hopes you go the adoption route.
I think there's a lot of dogs, a lot of strays, cats, dogs, whatever, that just need homes. And with the epidemic that's going on right now, we really need more people to come here and save animals rather than go to breeders and take home a new pet, a new family member.
Muscles walks out with a new family, and these furry friends want the same thing, to be adopted, and it can happen this weekend at the Indy Mega Adoption. Aaron Lish, RTV6.
Today, President Trump saying that he stopped a strike against Iran just 10 minutes before it happened. In a tweet, President Trump said that we were cocked and loaded to retaliate last night. The U.S. is meeting with the UN Security Council to talk about that situation. The strikes were ordered after Iran shot down a U.S. drone. Iran says that drone was over its territory, but the U.S. is claiming it was in international airspace. Now, the FAA has banned U.S. airlines from flying over the Strait of Hormuz, which is in the Persian Gulf along Iran. Now, it warned that commercial planes could be attacked by mistake. The FAA says a plane was less than 55 miles from the American drone that was shot down. Other international airlines are avoiding the region. Well, officials confirm another American tourist has died in the Dominican Republic. The woman was from Louisiana. She was on her honeymoon with her husband. Investigators say she had fluid in her lungs and she died at the hospital. She is the 10th American to die recently in the DR. And today, authorities there spoke about the ongoing situation. They say that they were the ones to contact the FBI, but they say there was no evidence alcohol had been tampered with. Kicking off our Now newsfeed with an update on a massive cocaine bust in Philadelphia. Customs and Border Protection says it found more than 17 tons of coke on a cargo ship. Now, if that were laid out brick by brick, it would span 2.5 miles. Investigators still are not sure at this point where that ship was headed. Retail store JCPenney says that women will be hit the hardest by tariffs on goods from China. The company says it has about 20 products that will be impacted, about 13 of those usually bought by women. Concerns over conditions at the border, as attorneys say nearly 250 people are being held at a facility near El Paso without adequate food and sanitation. At least 15 people had the flu. Some others were being held in quarantine. Some children said that they were given uncooked frozen food or rice to eat. A new drug could soon be available for young people with type 2 diabetes. The FDA is giving priority to reviewing Victoza. Now, it's already used by adults diabetes patients, but would be new for children. It's not insulin. It's meant to be taken with insulin to improve the body's control of blood sugar. Type 2 diabetes is most common in adults, but rates are rising dramatically in young people. Okay, ahead in our lineup, more cities are jumping on board with e-scooters, and as more people ride them, doctors are seeing an increase in injuries, so we're highlighting the changes they want to see that would make scooters safer.
Welcome back to the Now Indy on RTV6. The state of Indiana is making progress when it comes to safer driving, but there's still far too many lives being lost behind the wheel. Today, Indiana State Police Sergeant John Perrine shared these numbers with RTV6. He says fatal crashes in Indiana are the lowest they've been in 5 years. For example, there have been 310 crash deaths in the state so far this year. At the point last year, same point, there had been already 383 people killed on state roads. The big reminder tonight, every time you get in your vehicle, you should remember to buckle up.
Today, Nashville became the latest city to consider taking action against e-scooters, but a number of other places are choosing to embrace the technology, and Annie Taylor's showing us what doctors are saying about the dangers of scooters.
I love riding them. I think they're amazing.
Oh, I value my life. The electric scooter craze is nuts. However, there's a real love-hate relationship. While some cities are welcoming them, others, like the city of Nashville, are considering or have banned them. Unfortunately, falling, crashing, and getting seriously injured on an e-scooter is a possibility.
We've had at least one death here in the city.
That's Dr. Oscar Gillamundagi. He's a trauma doctor at Vanderbilt University in Nashville.
My personal feeling is that you shouldn't get on one without a helmet.
Last year, the CDC worked with the city of Austin to start tracking scooter crashes. In Austin, out of nearly 1 million scooter rides, about 200 people have been injured. But at Dr. Gillamundagi's hospital,
1 to 2 a month that are major, meaning intracranial hemorrhage or blood on the brain with serious enough injuries.
In every state, helmets are required for riders, but we didn't see anyone wearing them. To encourage riders to wear them, e-scooter companies like Bird passed out helmets in select cities.
50% of all the injuries would be alleviated if we just wore helmets.
It's still a challenge for police to enforce the law when hundreds of people are riding around town at a time. The CDC would like to see the companies adjust the speed of scooters below 10 miles per hour. And Dr. Gillamundagi would like companies to make bigger wheels and prohibit drinking and riding.
If you're going to do that, make sure that you put yourself in the best possible chances of not being hurt.
I'm Annie Taylor reporting.
All right, Annie, thank you. Let's get back to our lineup here on The Now. And childcare costs add up, especially during the summer. Some parents even getting into credit card debt because of it. We're going to take a look at the programs some families are turning to cut down on that cost.
1,000-mile warranty at Honda of Fishers.
Now, this may seem like common sense, but when you get into a routine with your pet, it is easy to overlook just how heat can harm them. And now that it is getting warmer, veterinarians are treating more pets for heat stroke and burns. A Washington State vet hospital posted these pictures of a golden retriever's burn pads. Now, his owner says that he walked more than a mile on a trail without whining or limping, so needless to say, it can be really difficult to know when a dog is in pain. Vets say that if the pavement's too hot for your bare feet, it is too hot for theirs. Now, that includes asphalt, pool decks, outdoor patios, any surface that is in direct sunlight that is not grass or dirt.
They do get these kind of blisters. That's a minor form of burns. They can get blisters that then open up within 24, 48 hours later. But we've actually seen it to where there's severe injury on the paw depending on how far they walked on asphalt.
Now, if your dog is high-stepping, walking faster, or pulling towards grass, that could mean their paws are burning. You can find these heat protection dog booties for sale actually on Chewy.com, which doctors say are really effective. Dogs can also get sunburns, especially on their noses and ears, and those with pink skin, light-colored fur, thin hair, they are at the most risk for this. There's actually some dog-specific sunscreen that you can buy. Also, you want to skip shaving a dog in the summertime. It actually puts them more at risk for sunburns. Their coats are designed to keep them cool. Heat stroke is a concern you need to worry about as well. Overweight and flat-faced dogs, they are most at risk for that. And of course, you can't forget about mosquitoes in the summertime. So make sure your dog is getting their regular heartworm medication. Dr. Meek says that they even see cases of dogs accidentally drowning, so make sure that you keep an eye on them around pools and other bodies of water. Now, with summer officially upon us, families will shell out more money on summer camps and childcare. In fact, a new study out this week shows that many families get into credit card debt just to pay for childcare. Chris Welch is showing us a few possible low-cost summer options.
After you successfully throw it, then you take one step back. These kids are spending their week at Christ Church Vacation Bible School in Denver.
I know that we pull a lot of people from community that's not just our church because we offer our program for free.
And free is a big selling point to working parents.
Childcare in Denver is relatively expensive, as well as summer activities and camps can add up, especially if you have 2 children.
Childcare is expensive.
According to a new study by Bankrate.com, 1/3 of parents who pay for childcare this summer will accumulate credit card debt. Now, they also say that parents will spend an average of almost $1,000 per child, and almost 1/5 of them will spend more than $2,000.
Childcare costs have continued to rise over the last couple of decades.
Lauren Hipp specializes in early learning for nonprofit parents advocacy group Moms Rising. She says having a stimulating place for kids to go during the summer is key.
Most American children live in families where all available parents are in the workforce. So childcare is a real necessity for families, and it's a great opportunity for children to get that healthy growth and development support so that they're ready and successful for school and life.
Other places to consider that often provide more affordable week-long camps for kids: a local YMCA or Parks and Rec department, or a local Council for the Arts chapter. I'm Chris Welch reporting.
Back here for the Now Indy, the spotlight today was on helping women and children fleeing domestic violence in central Indiana. Coburn Place held its 12th annual Blue and Gold Breakfast. The annual program helps raise money to support programs and services for families in need. The event, which began at Bankers Life Fieldhouse this morning, is hoping to raise $25,000 by the end of today.
Survivors of domestic violence, they need time, they need long-term housing support to really get their feet back under them again and to overcome the barriers that have maybe drawn them back into an abusive relationship. And events like this really provide the funds for us to be able to provide that long-term housing and those support services that wrap around that survivor and their families.
RTV6 was a proud participant of today's event, which brought together about 500 people there at Bankers Fieldhouse. Former pacer Eddie Gill was the featured speaker, and this was my 7th year hosting the event.
All right, thank you, Raphael. Here's a live look outside right now, and you can see lots of clouds out there as you look off to the west, and the skies are darkening, and some rain showers will be approaching downtown Indianapolis here shortly. The good news is all the severe thunderstorm warnings that we had earlier have now expired. However, we do continue this severe thunderstorm watch for a few counties off to the west until 8 p.m. tonight. However, I think that will probably be dropped here shortly, as well as the worst of the weather is basically through that area. So you see this band of rain. This was a big-time cluster of storms that started this morning. If you joined us on Good Morning Indiana near Omaha, and it's maintained itself, but it's starting to finally weaken now as it comes into more stable air. So to the south, from Shoals to just now west of Bedford into Bloomington, some pockets of heavier rain, and also maybe some gusty winds in these initial cells with a little bit of lightning, and that's moving off towards the southeast at about 45 miles per hour. So Mitchell here just past the top of the hour, and then eventually near Orleans as we get towards 6:50. As we slide to the north, you notice there's still some heavy rain here from Crawfordsville over towards Greencastle, now pushing into Danville. What you do not see, though, is lightning. So I know there's a lot of outdoor events downtown Indianapolis, up in Noblesville, at Ruoff. With no lightning, I think a lot of these events will go on. You might get a little wet. You might need the rain jacket. There's Monumental Yoga in downtown Indianapolis as well. Probably going to get wet for that, but no lightning. That is the good news. And then some light rain in Lafayette. So there's a pretty sharp cutoff to the north as these storms storms start to make their way through the area. So the model's running a little behind with the speed, but nonetheless kind of depicts the picture here for you. As we go throughout the evening hours, we'll lose the severe threat. Some showers could linger overnight into the morning hours on Saturday, but the severe threat is kind of coming to an end here over the next few hours. So tonight, some areas of rain, 67 degrees, the overnight low temperature for tomorrow, 82 degrees. It's not a washout for your Saturday. There's definitely some storms around throughout the course of the day, but there will be a lot of dry hours. Better storm chances on Sunday, some more storm chances on Monday as it remains very unsettled. Then finally on Tuesday, that's when we start to dry out with partly cloudy skies and a temperature right around 83 degrees.
Well, let's start the Now News feed. Today is Asking Saves Kids Day. It's promoting safe gun storage. Now, the group behind the effort says 1 out of every 3 homes with a child has a gun. They have several resources available about safe storage and talking to your kids about guns. You just want to go to AskingSavesKids.org. A new report says Americans have become less smart about money since the Great Recession. The study from Investor Education Foundation found that just over 30% of people could answer 4 out of 5 financial literacy questions. That's down from 2015. The biggest drop came in the 18 to 34-year-old range. All right, good news for people who are trying to sell a home because the number of previously owned homes reached a 3-month high in May. Experts say this is a good sign for a housing market that saw a weak year in 2018. Lower mortgage rates are credited with helping turn things around. Many politicians have been sent to prison, and now one former convicted politician is raising eyebrows with a bit of an unconventional reason on why he shouldn't be put behind bars. Investigative reporter Jace Larson taking a look at the argument and whether experts think it'll work.
Chicago, home to one of the great political machines. Also a place not exactly known for following the rules, with 2 back-to-back Illinois former governors thrown in prison for corruption. And that could be the fate of this man, too, former Chicago City Alderman Willie Cochran.
How much prison time is he facing?
The sentencing range is 12 to 18 months.
Cochran is set to be sentenced Monday on charges that he stole $14,000 from an account that was meant to help the children and the elderly in his district. Prison time seemed likely until defense attorney Christopher Groman hatched a plan to convince a judge that there have been so many other corrupt politicians in Chicago and Illinois who have gone to prison that sending his client to the same place simply won't stop others.
Is this kind of a Hail Mary, or do you really believe that this is going to work?
There's no evidence that sending people to jail for political corruption type crimes, especially in Chicago, has any effect on people's actions in the future.
To prove his point, he's listed 30-plus Chicago aldermen who have been charged with corruption-related crimes. And the U.S. Justice Department's research arm, the Institute of Justice, does seem to lend a little bit of support to Groman's claim. They say on their webpage, sending an individual convicted of a crime to prison isn't a very effective way to deter crime.
I was a little stunned.
Attorney Denise Mauder is a former prosecutor turned college law professor at MSU Denver.
He's talking about deterrence, and therefore deterrence doesn't work, so we shouldn't do anything to him. And it's a flaw in the logic that if punishment doesn't work, then let's not punish anybody.
Groman admits that this one argument alone likely won't be enough to avoid prison time. But he's told a judge there are other reasons too, like his client's history of organizing neighborhood events and doing other good things for Chicago. And the fact that Cochran is no longer an alderman, so he's not in a position to steal money again.
So if you had to make a guess, do you think he'll get prison time?
No. I think the judge will give him what we asked for, which is 6 months home detention.
A judge will make his ruling Monday morning. In Chicago, I'm Jace Larson.
Interesting argument, Jace. Thank you. And finally in our lineup here on The Now, some restaurants are about to make the switch to genetically modified fish. But is that really all that's different from natural fish? We're taking a look at the science behind this new trend.